day everybody, Doug Walsh here, Dark Horse Stables. I've got Hammy back with me today, and you know, this has been a journey with him. We've talked about how he has had something really bad happen to him from human interaction prior to his owner getting him, probably why he ended up at a kill pen. And he was extremely stuck in his lateral flexion, especially going to the right. As you watched in the previous video, you can see how we're making progress on it, but the first time that I sat on him, and I had done some lateral flexion on the ground, but I put weight on his back and then asked him to move to the right. As soon as he got past the center point here, he just kind of blew up and couldn't handle it. So you know, that's one of the things we work on when we have a horse that's, you know, like in his case, bucking his owner off, and she's scared and he's scared, and he's just doing it because he's either scared or uncomfortable. So we're ruling out any type of a medical thing with him, which you know, I think that he has some PTSD. So we're working through that with him, and the more I've been working on this, I don't think it's so much a pain thing, but just a reaction to how he may have been treated in the past. So we're going to work on that. So we're working on this lateral flexion left and right. You can see how it's a little bit better now. Took a nice breath there. And he was so worried about everything that he would literally jump across the stall when you'd walk into his stall sometimes. And if you approached him to pet him, he would get really nervous as well. So just want him to feel comfortable. If he doesn't feel safe, we don't have a chance at all to be able to have a good partnership with him. So try to be really gentle with the bit because he had some issues with that at first too. So want it to be something that's positive for him. Every horse is different that we work with, and the whole thing is that it's not cookie cutter. We have a process that we go through, but it's all in the release of the pressure and the timing and the feel, and that's what really makes a good horse person, is to be able to have the feel and the timing, and to understand the smallest movements, the smallest things that your horse does, to understand what they're feeling. So so now that I've got this on him, you know, I'm gonna bridge this gap from the halter and lateral flexion, because I want this to be nice and light. Good. And then I'll ask with the rein. Good. So I'm gonna ask the other side with the halter. Good boy. Good boy. So that was really difficult for him, and I've broken this down into really short segments with him, just a couple times throughout the day, because I don't want to overwhelm him, because I want this to be a positive thing for him. Good boy. So I want to see if oh, good boy. So that's the best time yet so far that he's given me with that lateral flexion. So I've had to spend a tremendous amount of time on the ground, and you see this licking and chewing that we're getting. That's exactly what we're looking for. So if you have a horse that's giving you some problems and they seem to be getting worse and worse, we have to look at ourselves first and go, is there anything that we're contributing to our equine partner that's going to make them feel unsafe? And remember, even if we're not a professional trainer, every time we're attached to this or around them, we are teaching them, whether it's good or bad. We're teachers to them, and we are training them. And sometimes if you look at, like, we have a little puppy named Whiskey, and he hangs out with his older sister Lola. Not really a sister, but we call him that. She's a Pomeranian, he's a Chihuahua, and everything that she does, he looks at, and he's learned that behavior. And it's not like she's been teaching him. You know, she's not like she's been going, okay, Whiskey, I'm going to teach you how to do this. It's whatever her behavior is, he's going to mimic that behavior as a puppy, whether it's good or bad. So we want to do the same thing with our horses. We want to give them a good path, and if they've had a bad path, and we have them in a state like him, is that we want to not give up on him, but we want to give him the time, because his issue didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in a month. It didn't happen in a year. It took several years for this to happen to him. So it's going to take some time for us to retrain that. If you think about it, if you've had an animal that's been incorrectly been either gone after or incorrectly trained for 6 months, it's probably going to take you 6 months to get back to a neutral to then fix those issues. So so what I'm going to do now, so this would have taken me normally about 25 minutes, 30 minutes to get to the point where I could do that. So you notice as soon as I took the line off, he got a little bit more, what's going on here? So he knows something different's gonna happen. So we want him to not feel any anxiety to go, man, what is that? Now, someone might have just thought, if they looked at that, oh, well, he's just backing up, you know, well, let's come back forward. Well, he's clearly communicating to me, going, as soon as you unclip that line, I got a little nervous, my head went up, and I took a step backwards. So we have to look at those little tiny things when we are working with our horses. It's very important, especially horses that have had major trauma that have happened to him. I mean, he's got scars all over his body, up by his ears, neck, kind of everywhere, and so we know that something's happened to him. So we want to just be aware of that and not live in the past, but help him to get through that past so he can have a good future and have a good riding partner. So I'm gonna ask him just to, and every time I ask for something, I want to keep his body relaxed, and I put my hand just on the middle of his neck, just so I can feel how his energy is when I ask that. Good. So the fact that he wants to stay with me and not pop back is a good thing, because he couldn't do that at all when we first got him. So I'm just going to ask this way too. So this is nice and light. So this is the best that this has ever happened. And he's staying over there. Good. And he doesn't want to just whip his head backwards. Good. So a week ago, if I just went like this to him, he would want to jump to the other side of the arena. He'd want to just scooch away. So now I'm going to come over to this side. It's really important because a lot of his issues seem to be on the right side of his body. You notice as soon as I walked around to the right, he got a little cautious. The head came up a little bit. Now, someone might not notice it, but it's important to notice those little things, because a week ago, that head would have been way up here. If I did this to him, he would have had a major meltdown. So it's about building that trust with him. Say, now can I pick up this rein? I want to make sure that my outside rein is nice and light, so he's got a place to go. And so I'm going to ask him just to do that, be that same lightness. And see, he's a little bit more good boy. He's a little bit more cautious on this side. We work on that every day, but we're getting this licking and chewing. So I want to come over here. I might want to just pet him a little bit. Just let him know that I am here to be there for him, not to hurt him. Because when I sat on him for the first time, and I went to flex him to the right like this, and he reared and spun and took off, you know, I was just sitting still, just trying to get lateral flexion. So if I can't get lateral flexion just sitting on a horse, we're not going to have a lot of ground to do anything going forward and have him be relaxed, because he was already that tense. I was able to get him to, he completely exploded with just the movement of his neck without him moving. So I want to pick up this rein. I want this to be nice and light. I want him to want to come over here, so I'm not going to pull and yank on this. I'm just going to hold the same amount of pressure. So see how he gets a little nervous, little nervous, little nervous, little nervous. So I'm just holding the connection. Good boy. Then he releases his own contact. It's like if he's being, it's like if my hand is a post, right? So you saw what happened there is that he started licking and chewing now. So I'll have him come back over this way. Looks like they were playing a little bit in their paddock in their pasture last night. A little nip mark on him on the left shoulder there. But the thing is, horses will be horses. They get to have fun together. But the thing is too, so I want that reaction. I don't want the head to come up and have him go backwards, because then he feels confined. If you're on his back and then you put leg on him, he's just not going to know what to do, and he's going to have to get away from the situation. So we got to continue to work on that. So I'm going to ask him from here. Good boy. Good boy. And I want to make sure I get this a few times before I go decide to put some weight on his back. Good. Good boy. So see how the head came down there and he relaxed into it a little bit? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some weight on both sides of him, see if I can do the same thing, right? So he understands I'm there. You can see he's in a pretty relaxed state. If I go up to here, I put my foot in the stirrup. So see how the head came up a little bit, but it was more curiosity. Oh, there we go. So it's not always about me rushing to go, oh, I got to get that foot in the stirrup. I want him to have that release, to feel comfortable. Nothing makes me feel better when I go to put a foot in the stirrup with a horse and they actually take a big breath because they're relaxing into it. Good. So what I'm gonna do is I like how his head is towards me. I like him to always kind of give me an eye and an ear when I go to get on him. So now, good. So I just want him to know that I'm okay all around him in a different position. So now I'm gonna ask, and this is something that he couldn't do before, so let's see how he does. Just gonna ask him to bring me his head. Good boy. Okay, so you can see though, for him, that was really big for him to turn to the right, and he didn't really get super upset. He was just a little tense and a little nervous. We have to get rid of that before we can have success in anything else with him. You notice the licking and chewing started to come with that. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm gonna do the same thing again. So I want to reward him for that try. So he sees we got another horse coming up here. Want to allow him the opportunity to look but stay relaxed. The whole goal is for them to be able to maintain having energy and being relaxed, right? We never want, just like with us, if we are in a crisis situation, there's some people that handle a crisis situation in a very relaxed state, and there's other people that get really all panicked and just freak out and don't know what to do. So this licking and chewing is huge for him. He's learning, he's thinking, he's understanding that he should be okay doing all this stuff. So okay, so you see what he did there is that he wanted to come face me, change his body position a little bit. I want to allow that because it means he's not wanting to go away from me, he's wanting to come closer to me. So I'm going to go back to here and put that foot in the stirrup. Ask for that head a little bit. Good. Good. So now I'm going to ask for this. Make sure you've got plenty of rein on that outside. I'm going to ask for him to bend his head this way. So now I'll just stay up here with him for a second. See how he's holding his breath right now? So I'll take a deep breath. Ask him to come back over this way. See how that head's starting to lower down as he's turning? Good boy. Good. So he's trying to really manage his emotions right now. You can see that. I'm sure hopefully all you guys can see this. So I'm going to ask again. Good boy. The head starts to come down, which I like. So he's starting to yield and give in. Good boy. And then afterwards he starts licking and chewing. So that was a great example of, you could see that he started to relax and give, and then he was like, oh God, I'm a little nervous, oh my God, just wait on me. You know, when they usually get attacked by a predator, usually it's on their back and it doesn't feel very good, right? So you think about when a horse gets really worried with someone on their back and bucks them off and they end up hitting the ground, you know, then they worry about that predator coming back after them again. You know, they just shook him free, right? So with him, it truly is a nervous thing that he has, and it's really good to have him at the point where I can get up and I can start to ask that, but I need that to be like, that has to be really dialed in where he's not worried about me being on his back at all. So I'm going to do it again from this side. And you can tell, so when he's backing up like that now, he's kind of saying, hey, I'm really having a hard time. I'm trying to process all this stuff. But I haven't had good experiences when someone's been on my back. And so I want to make it as good and as comfortable for him as possible. Good boy. I'm gonna put that leg back in the stirrup, and I'm trying to teach him to automatically look towards me, just like that. You see, I'm not holding any reins. Good boy. Good boy. Put my weight in the center of the stirrup, the saddle. Ask him to come back over this way. Good, so we had a little breath there. So my goal is for him to stay nice and relaxed through this whole process. Good. Nervous, so stay with him because I don't want him to freak out. Good boy. Now I'll release. So you see, we have a thing going on right now. Every time he does that, gets better, I take that pressure off. He knows he did a good job. He's starting to think for himself. He starts to lick and chew. Starts to take that breath. Starts to feel more comfortable. Right? This was impossible. This wasn't obtainable even a week ago. So now I'm gonna go to this side of him so you can see, oh gosh, my right side, I should be worried, should I be guarded? So let's come a little closer to you so we're not super far away from the camera. Come on, mister. Good boy. And you can see he's the type of horse that really wants to not be bad. He really doesn't want to be bad. Good boy. Good boy. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to put my foot in the stirrup on this side, lean over on that side, and my goal is to have him do the same thing. Is if I put my foot in this stirrup, is have him want to look this direction. Good boy. Good boy. So if I'm on this side now, I'm going to ask him to both bend this way. Good boy. Now this is where it was a real tough thing for him, was to go from left to right. Ask him, I'm going to give him more rein on this side because I don't want him to feel any contact right now. I just want him to feel completely free to do what he needs to do. Good boy. Good boy. So when you have a horse that's had major trauma like this is a trust game. This is a building trust. If you give to me, I'll make sure nothing ever bad happens to you. Good boy. See how I actually left it there that time? Good boy. Ask again. Good boy. Good boy. So now I'm waiting for that licking and chewing. Good. So now I'm starting to build a relationship with a horse that wants to be with me, wants to be with people. When he first got here too, he wouldn't come to anybody when we went to go get him in the field. There's a reason why they won't want to come to you. Good. So he did so good with that. We're going to stop this segment here and stay tuned for more. This is really exciting with him, this journey, and I hope you're having a great day. Talk to you soon. Check out our Facebook page, Doug Walsh Horsemanship, as well as our website at naturalhorsemanship.com. Have a great day. Take care. Good boy, buddy. Come on.